The first steps to the new Arena Entertainment District is now taken care of from the Salt Lake City Council. What does that mean for the Utah Hockey Club? Plus, some more minor signings. How many left do we have to go? And some international women's rivalry hockey coming to Utah this fall. We'll talk about that on today's episode of Locked On Utah Hockey Club.
You are Locked On Utah Hockey Club, your daily podcast on the Utah Hockey Club, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Locked On Utah Hockey Club, your number one daily podcast on the Utah Hockey Club. I am your host, Robyn Leonio, alongside Tom Callahan. We want to thank everyone for making this show your first listen every single day. We are free and available everywhere you get your shows. We got a great show on today, Tom, because we got a lot of things to unravel. Things happen in the last 24 hours, or so that we have to discuss. We got some public affairs to talk about. We got some some contract signings, international hockey, and more. Let's start, Tom, by talking about, and I want to touch on this pretty, as briefly as we could. You don't want to go too much into it because just a small step. But I will say this to those of you who maybe have not followed last night, where the Salt Lake City Council has officially, by a 7-0 vote, so unanimously, endorsed the Smith Entertainment Group's capital revitalization project to get a $900 million entertainment district and renovation to Delta Center in place. So they've endorsed it. It's not finally approved yet, but it's endorsed it. Now it's going to the state. So it's one step, Tom.
It is. And Robyn, I don't know if many people know this, but I actually started my career before sports as a political reporter. I was in Nashua, New Hampshire, and I covered a governor's race. I covered a Senate race. I covered a presidential campaign. I've been in a lot of these council meetings, and they are not the most exciting thing in the world.
No.
But I will say this is the first, as even, our tweet indicated at LO_NHL Utah, the first of many steps.
Yep.
So it's great to see, because right now there are obstructed view seats in the arena. It was built specifically for a basketball floor, which is shorter than a hockey rink. So what's going to happen is, within this capital revitalization zone project, it's not just the Delta Center, but it certainly includes the Delta Center. And that means down the road, now that it's going to the state for approval, that is what will make the building better for hockey in the future.
It's the Delta Center, and I believe 2 blocks east of it. So it's going to include part of what is currently, I think, like the convention center that the entertainment group is going to be taking a hold of via lease from the Salt Lake County. Here is a little bit of an overview that I have finally got it up. So all that, of course, $900 million, Tom, that is going to be paid for by a 0.5% sales tax increase. And I think $525 million of that is going to go specifically towards the arena, and the remainder towards the district itself. So,
and also, go ahead, Robyn.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say with endorsing that, it's the $900 million package comes out of that tax. $525 goes into the arena renovations. We saw how much the Kraken, and quite frankly, I mean, they spent more than they thought they would renovating what was Key Arena and is now Climate Pledge. So this is based on the cost of what's down the road, and costs could rise. So that could kind of go a little over budget, but that's going to be really on the people who are working on the renovation project to make sure they spend that $525 wisely and make every dollar count. So hopefully they'll be able to do that, because construction costs have been rising like crazy the last couple of years.
And of course, there's a lot of other ways this gets taken care of. Like I mentioned, there's that 0.5% sales tax increase. I know a lot of people who have, I know Coyotes fans, you're probably wondering, public money? What? No, this is not Arizona, guys. It's a very different. This is a very different situation going down. I think also included is like a ticket fee that's going to go and pay for like the remainder of things like Japantown or anything else around the area. And be like, yeah, let's go ahead and revitalize these areas. We'll go ahead and take care of that we can use towards the city's discretion of what they want to do with those with that extra fees.
And the thought is that when you renovate the arena and you renovate something, in the downtown core, everything around it comes up. So it revitalizes an area. Nashville's a great example of this. Nashville, Broadway, let's just say it was struggling in the 90s. They decided to put the arena down there, which, by the way, was originally supposed to get an NBA team. But they ended up with a hockey team. And that arena, still at the corner of 5th and Broadway, has completely revitalized the downtown core of Nashville, Tennessee.
It really has. If you guys haven't seen the actual outline of the project, it's actually really cool to kind of see what exactly their plan is. And I even have a little brief thing right here. If I can.
Oh, look at you.
Great. Yep, I come prepared. So this shows exactly what Ryan and Ashley Smith are focusing on. You can show the Delta Center right there and all what's coming up next. One thing I will mention, Tom, make sure people know that it's mainly the first few years is dedicated strictly towards the renovating of the arena up until from 2024. So this year, up until 2027, that is the renovation for the Delta Center. And they're going to take it in bursts. Of course, they're not going to be doing the renovation in season when the Utah Jazz and Hockey Club are in season. So like from April until October, they're going to rush. They're going to do everything they can to do north side of the stands, then the south side of the stands, and everything else.
The most recent renovation that I saw, and actually I had a chance not too long ago to talk to an architect who works on baseball parks, and even small renovations take several years from the blank sheet of paper until they're completely finished. And so looking at what the Toronto Blue Jays did, for example, they did it in phases over a couple of years, most of the work in the offseason. Now, it's a good thing the Jazz and Utah Hockey Club overlap with their seasons because that leaves you free time in the summer. Yep. Now, I don't know what that means for events in the building. I'm sure it's going to kind of knock some of those out while they're renovating. However, after that, this is not just for hockey. This is not just for basketball. It's also good for concerts, other events that are going to come in and utilize that building as well. They all benefit from the revitalization.
As many things as possible is going to benefit from it. And then, that's the kind of point of it all. It's not just for the sports event, but sports arenas, and no matter, a lot of people will try to argue otherwise, but no, it's not just that. It is everything, everything else that can go in it, and everything else that happens around it. Because again, you're adding on again, going with the addition to the renovations. We're talking about the Entertainment District and adding shops and other elements that's going to bring people, public art installations. It's going to continue to bring more and more people to downtown, rather than not outside of just for a sports event or a concert, just to be there because that is the place to be.
Right. They want to make it a destination. Absolutely.
They really do. And again, like I said, it's a first step. They still got, I think, some zoning stuff to take care of next month. And I think even finally approving the actual sales tax increase. This, again, we're talking about maybe another year. Because I think for everything to go into place what they want to, taking care of the non-relocation agreement. They can't leave Delta. None of them can't leave Delta Center. They got to stay inside there for the course of the agreement. So there's that element too. So,
well, hopefully they get this. Let's get it passed first, and then we can dream about how cool it's going to look.
Yeah, I mean, this will be the place to go to if there's any major updates. If it's small, you'll see. I might post something on social media. But any other major updates that come by, we'll do our best to get you guys up to date right here on Locked On Utah Hockey Club. What we're going to do though is we are going to stop on that for a little sec because we got a lot more to get to on this show. Tom, we're going to talk some signings the Utah Hockey Club has made. They only got one more signing left to go. We'll talk about that right after this.
And Locked On NHL in Utah is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers.
Let's keep things going on this episode of Locked On Utah Hockey Club. Once again, Robyn Leonio and Tom Callahan. We're talking some of the things that we might have missed over the last 24 hours since our last episode, Tom, as news just keeps coming for more and more for this Utah Hockey Club, and you know what? I can't complain. Keeps us giving us stuff to talk about, and with this one, they got some more signings in. Are they minor signings? Yes, but they're still signings.
Well, and I mean, I think Igor Sokolov is good, 1 year, 2-way deal, and to have him in, and we talked about him in Belleville, what he was able to accomplish, and a guy who, he's another guy as an all-star last year in the American League, is a guy who, you can call up, can be reliable, has gotten his cup of coffee in the NHL. So I like that. But now another one coming down today with Artyom Duda, entry-level contract. So that's good to see. The ELC inked up. He played with Toronto Metropolitan University last season. That is not normally where you find a Russian player stashed pre-ELC, but that's where he was, 7 points in 15 games. So defenseman and a second-round pick in 2022. So looks likely to start with Tucson, but look forward to seeing him in camp as well. And so what you're seeing right now, Robyn, a lot of these signings that are coming in. So you see, obviously Hayton was a big one. That's an NHL signing, but some of these other guys, Jackson Stauber, Curtis Douglas, Milos Kellerman, we're talking about these guys, Travis Barron, Andrew Agazzino. A lot of those are going to fill in with depth for the organization. That's right. And so now if you're Tucson, you're beginning to get a really good idea of what you're going to look like this season.
And it's certainly slowly looking like it's going to be, promising. Gives you a lot of excitement. If you are a Tucson Roadrunners fan, you should be really excited for next season, knowing all these players coming in. Honestly, if I'm a Tucson Roadrunners fan, I'm excited for Artyom Duda to come in, because you saw what you've got a chance to see maybe what he's done during the last couple prospect camps, or even just training camps in general, making on the way over a little bit early from Russia. They kind of did maybe expect him to come on over to play the North American game. And like you said, it was for over Toronto Metropolitan or whatever.
Toronto Metropolitan University, the hockey hotbed.
But you know what? That was his way of getting into the North American game before he got it. And you know what? Shout out to that, and make sure he gets ready a little bit sooner. As you mentioned, he's still going to be with Tucson, but that is a massive asset that Tucson is going to be adding to, that's really going to help them out. And again, maybe potentially make a push, because they looked decent last year for a Calder Cup playoff run.
Well, they've got a high bar. We talk about it. Coachella Valley is the high bar in the West. They've got to get over that. That was an incredibly good team last year. Lost to Hershey in the Calder Cup final this year, but man,
back-to-back years too.
Yeah, back-to-back years, yes, and that's a high bar. But you know what, Coachella Valley is setting the example here, and so that's what teams are chasing in the American League. And winning at the minor league level breeds winning at the NHL level.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that's what they need to focus. That's what we need to focus on: getting the playoff experience, getting the postseason experience. That's why I'm glad that Tucson is slowly getting their way up there. Honestly, thought they would have made a deeper run this last season had it not been for Dustin Wolf and the Calgary Wranglers. That still is going to frustrate me, Tom.
You know what, though? That's hockey. That is absolutely hockey. You get a hot goaltender who can steal you not only a game, but a series. That's hockey. Things happen. I mean, a puck bangs in off somebody's elbow, and all of a sudden it's in the net, and it's an overtime game winner, series over, and you just you shake your head. I mean, you want to work hard and get the puck luck, but sometimes it does not bounce your way. And sometimes you just run into a team that is just going to steamroll you anyway. But, you got to play the games. You got to find out who's going to win the series. Everybody thought the Stanley Cup was over when it was 3-0 Florida. Then we ended up in a game 7. So you got to play the series, man. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's one versus, number 227 ranked team. You got to play the game.
100%. But what I want to talk about, Tom, really quick, as we talk about these signings and everything else, there still is one signing left for this Utah Hockey Club franchise to sign. If you take a look at surprise, Cap Friendly, which is still online at the time of this recording, there is one person left to sign. If I'm looking at it correctly, and one person left to be signed, and it is defenseman Victor Söderström.
So I saw you with the graphic here. I said, one more left to go. I'm like, who are we referring to here, Robyn? So, Soderstrom's going to be an interesting one here. And I will say this, reading up on at least the available players who have released quotes in and around their signings or have given interviews in and around their signings, there is a lot of positivity around this Utah team right now. And a lot of good things that people are saying, that people are feeling about the organization. I know Clayton Keller's name comes up a lot as someone that a lot of guys will call or text or talk to about the situation there. And he's obviously had very good things to say. So I'm not super concerned that this doesn't happen. But right now it's kind of interesting, the positive buzz around Utah Hockey Club. I'm almost, dare I say, not quite used to it, with this franchise. I mean, even, from my days in Tucson, like you get some positivity and then it's all, it's quickly tamped out. And now it just seems
because
it's good.
It's like the whole thing that we've talked about that I've mentioned before. And I would kind of mention, maybe I'll mention again. Maybe it's been a long time since I mentioned it. Maybe it's the first time on the Utah show that I'm mentioning it. It's kind of like that meme where it says X amount of days since an accident. Instead it was for Coyotes fans, it was like X amount of days since since an Alex Morello thing or anything bad happening about that. Every time, the moment something good happened, the very next day it reverts back to zero because something had to happen. Yeah. But we're not getting that, and I feel like that's why the momentum just keeps going up and up and up and up, and that's why the excitement's coming from all these signings and all the excitement around the Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to watch right now, so I'm definitely enjoying it. But so, what are your thoughts? You think this gets done here relatively soon? You think everything gets taken care of?
Oh yeah, I do think everything gets taken care of pretty soon. I think in the case of Soderstrom, it is a little bit. There's just some things that still need to be taken care of. Maybe there's still a bit of a concern about his play, and just a slight bit. He hasn't been the most impressive. I think he was supposed to be a lot more. He had a lot higher expectations earlier on in the season, early on in his years, and he's hasn't lived up to them yet. And I feel like that's kind of where at least a lot of people have felt so far. But maybe it might be a sense of new franchise, quote-ish, same team, but new franchise, and new city, might just a new change of pace. Maybe that's what he needs. Who knows? Even if he's going to play in Tucson still. But
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of guys with the change of scenery, even if they do end up in Tucson, but still knowing that now it's Utah, because you're going to go to camp in Utah. You're going to be in Salt Lake. You're going to be with the different colors on in camp. It's going to be a different look, a different feel, a different location. I think that has potential to affect things, even though you go back to the TCC and you walk into that same locker room. It's just a different vibe now.
Yeah, maybe because you realize, maybe I have a better chance this time around. Maybe I just feel better about myself.
Yeah, and about the organization.
Yeah, because you're not wondering at any given moment, are we actually going to get a real arena, or are we, or is, are Arno going to go face other situations? And then I had to stop myself really quick about the owner situation because Alex Morello still technically owns the Tucson Roadrunners.
Yes.
But I feel like overall, if the organization, they still will have a more positive outlook, and just based off what I've seen from fans, I think that seems like, I'm hoping that seems to be the case with even the prospects and other players.
Yeah, for sure. And I look forward to that. I actually shared a quick email exchange with Bob Hoffman, who's the president of the Roadrunners, and they're excited right now. They really are. They're pumped. They have all their games in Tucson. They're very happy about that. The Rio Nuevo board down there it continues to throw their weight and their support behind that team. And so I think it's going to be a really good season for fans in Tucson of that team. I know I was telling people actually on social media a while ago to hold off buying their tickets. I can now green light you buying your tickets again, Roadrunners fans. Go ahead and if you want season tickets, yes, I give you permission to spend your money. They'll be there.
A little bit of a teaser for y'all, depending on maybe some of the events of the next couple months or so. Which is, again, if you there's a decent if about it. I may or may not, Tom, be at a decent amount of the Roadrunners games this season as years passed. And again, it's a decent drive down to Tucson from the Phoenix area, from where I live right now. But I got to go back to my roots for a little bit. Get those Roadrunners games back in.
Get yourself a gas sipping car. That is my advice.
There we go.
Or you get one of those cool 3-wheel motorcycles. I could see you jamming out in that.
Hey, I mean, I used to own a Mustang, which wasn't that. And now I have a Chevrolet Sonic hatchback.
That is a gas sipping car.
Yes.
Yeah.
I the amount of money I've saved on gas already since I've had that
I can't
car.
imagine. I can't imagine. But I mean, with the Sonic, every time it runs out of gas, you throw it away and buy a new one. So,
I do miss my Mustang though. I won't lie. But exciting stuff for Tucson, exciting stuff for the Utah Hockey Club as these signings get closer to being wrapped up. As we're almost there, almost to that finish line for that bit of the offseason before. But next bit of the offseason comes with training camp and just also coming up pretty quickly, Tom. But what we're going to do, though, is we are going to talk pretty briefly on some international hockey making its way on over to Utah. You might be excited to hear about it. We'll talk about it right after this. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much, I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games, and the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream about bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everybody, every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. So let's wrap up this episode of Locked On Utah Hockey Club, Tom. One of the things I want to touch on, because it's something that got announced yesterday that I'm excited for, that I saw, because I love me some international hockey, specifically the U.S.-Canada rivalry, specifically in women's hockey, the women's hockey rivalry between U.S. and Canada. If you guys if you're completely new to hockey, maybe you're not kind of familiar with it. Like U.S.-Canada men's, yeah, sure, it's pretty. It's all right. U.S.-Canada women's hockey, Tom, best game there is, best source of entertainment you'll ever find. And it's coming to Utah at the Maverick Center in West Valley City this fall in November, I believe.
So, yes, it is intense. I mean, it is intense. I really enjoyed watching PWHL hockey this year. You want to talk about some intense hockey? The women's game is not like it used to be. Even when the Olympics were at Salt Lake, if you think back, the contact in the women's game, even though body checking is still not legal, it's different now. There is a lot of body contact, and there is a lot of aggression, and there's a lot of skill. And the United States and Canada do not like one another. They just don't. They are the two best teams in the world 9 times out of 10, and they hate each other. And it makes for just they could be playing tiddlywinks, and it will be intense. So just seeing them out there on the ice, especially if you have a little girl or a daughter or a niece or a cousin or someone who might be interested in figuring out if hockey's for them, and you're looking for positive role models, there are plenty of them on both Team USA and Team Canada as well. So I think it's absolutely worth checking out. I hope it is packed on the day of the game.
If I didn't get a chance to go to the game when it was over here at the Mole Arena in Tempe. I forgot what I had. Oh yeah, you know what? I had to work at my day job. That's what happened. I was so upset because I really wanted to go to that game, and it happened. And what they do is every year, I think they come up with, I think like 3 American cities and like 3 Canadian cities. They just kind of take the tour around throughout the fall and winter and be like, all right, we're gonna go and play these games with each other. And that's the thing. That's what I like about it is they know how good rivals they are and how intense it gets. So they just keep scheduling games like let's play here, let's play here. This year, I can't not remember what the third city is. All I know is it's San Jose and
Salt
West
Lake
Valley City. Yeah, Salt Lake City, West Valley City. Really, again, it's at the Maverick Center. And you'll notice it is at the smaller venues. It's not going to be you're not going to see at the major. It's not going to be at Delta Center. It's not going to be at SAP Center. It's not going to be. It's like in the smaller venues, and I kind of like even though more people will probably go to these games still, I kind of like the more intimate setting for a game like this because you're getting up close and personal with the best in the world.
And the other thing too is when the crowd is packed in like that, and it's 3,000 people, 4,000 people, all right on top of one another, the energy is there. Not only on the ice, but also in the stands. And even think about the NHL back in the bubble, guys talking about playing in the bubble, they hated it. It was dead. It was empty. It was hard to get up for games. So when you have a crowd that's on top of you, they're all feisty, they're all ready to go. It amps the teams up even more. And like they need it, but it makes for a fantastic setting.
Do you have a favorite player you like to watch in these games?
It's kind of funny. Like I feel like I get a new favorite every time I watch a game. I really do enjoy. Okay, so me being a goaltender, that's the first thing I'm going to watch. I'm going to pay attention to the goaltending.
Right.
I always want to see who's at the top of their game. But you know what has impressed me, and kind of I think back to the PWHL. One of the things I've noticed, the shot quality and shot selection has gotten so much better lately. And I know this feeds back into goaltending, but the skill of the players has just continued to rise. Not that they weren't good before, but Robyn, it's so much like you could see the game growing. Obviously, the coaching's getting better, the training is getting better. It just, I mean, I like seeing who's going to be the breakout player, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's what I like to look for.
That's fair. I love the Stars personally because again, these they're some of the best in the world, and they're just freaking amazing hockey players. Because in that sense, I've got like as of right now, mine does kind of change every now and then. But as of right now, as we were wrapping up this show, I'll just mention it to you right now. I have favorite from each side, one favorite from each side. On the American side, it's Amanda Kessel.
Okay.
On the Canadian side, Sarah Nurse.
Sarah Nurse might be the best women's hockey player in the world.
Yes, that is I don't think you can make much of an argument otherwise. Like she is fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, she really is. And for those who don't know, that is Darnell Nurse's sister. And so I mean, I can't argue with that. I would always be very interested to see what comes out of, them playing and just You can't go wrong with either
Yep.
one of them.
No, you
So
can't.
that's
And again, this this series, the rivalry series, the Utah tour is at once again at the Maverick Center. I believe the date is November 8th. So exactly a month after the opening night for the Utah Hockey Club. And you're getting your full action of hockey this fall, Utah hockey fans.
yes, absolutely. Is Britta Curl on the women's team this time around? I know she was on 2023. Is she on 2024?
I would think so.
She's kind of an interesting / controversial figure. So I always wonder about what kind of reception she's going to get when she goes various places. So always interesting to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not going to dig too much into that. Look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. Go ahead and look it up.
Any final thoughts before we go ahead and close things off?
I'm just glad to see that the measure passed. Not that we didn't think it would, but that is an important first step. And you know what? The Delta Center, it's going to be great. It's going to be rocking this year, but I'm actually pretty excited to see what the project looks like when it's done in a couple of years.
Definitely would be looking forward to. And once again, to get those updates, we'll do our best to keep you guys updated right here on the Utah Hockey Club podcast. Minor updates, you can follow us on social media. Major updates, we'll have here on the podcast. But that's going to be it for this episode of the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We are available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube, SiriusXM, ad-free on Amazon Music for our Amazon Prime subscribers. Don't forget to also go ahead and join our text club, our Insider Text Club. You can text 801-760-9033 to get started. Use the promo code SUMMER50 on sign up. And guys, tonight is the last night I'm keeping this open. So after this, I'm going to be closing the promo. Not that there might be more, but for this moment, I'm closing this promo. You guys get 50% off your first 2 months. So this is the best time to sign up for our text club. You're going to get some exclusive content coming your way and be able to text us one-on-one and be a part of our weekly mailbag, and more and more things are coming every single week. So you'll definitely want to be a part of it. Now is the best time to join. Once again, text to 801-760-9033. Don't forget to interact with us also on social media. We're on Twitter, now X, Instagram, and Threads at LO_NHL Utah. I am personally at Robyn_Leonio, and Tom Callahan is at Callahan on Air. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to this episode, and we'll see you guys next time.